Good morning, children. Welcome to English class. In the last class, we were discussing the lesson There is a Girl by the Tracks. We learnt about the details of Roma Talreja and Baleshwar Mishra. And also we came to know how Baleshwar Mishra risked his life to save a stranger's life. Roma Talreja was lying by the tracks. By seeing that, he came forward to help the girl. Roma Talreja was badly injured and the blood was flowing out of her injured head. By seeing this condition, Baleshwar Mishra will lift the girl and move towards the road seeking the help of motorists and other people to take her to the hospital, but none of them came to help them. Now we shall proceed with the lesson. Innumerable motorists drove by, some even slowing down to see the young man struggling to hold the blood-covered woman in his arms. Just when he had begun to lose hope, a tempo truck pulled over and its driver, a middle-aged man who spoke Gujarati, stepped out. "Help me," Baleshwar pleaded, and the man helped Baleshwar lay Roma down in the back of his truck. Baleshwar was quickly telling the driver what had happened when a traffic policeman arrived. "Take the girl to Airoli," suggested the cop. "There is a hospital there." But Baleshwar disagreed. Airoli was at least 10 kilometers away. "There is a closer place I know of," said Baleshwar. 10 minutes later, they arrived at a small hospital where nurses helped take the young women in. But as the facility lacked personnel and equipment, the on-duty physician wasn't able to do more than give basic first aid. He advised that she be moved to a nearby hospital. Children, innumerable motorists drove by. Many people were passing that way. What all of them were doing was just slowing down their vehicle to see the young man struggling to hold the blood-covered woman. By seeing that condition also, nobody will come forward to help them. They did not want to take any risk. When Baleshwar was about to lose the hope, one person will come to help them. Who is that? He is a tempo truck driver, a middle-aged man who spoke Gujarati. He will get down from the truck and he will come to help them. Who will come to help them, children? A tempo truck driver, a middle-aged man who spoke Gujarati, came forward to help them. Baleshwar was quickly telling the driver what had happened. He was explaining what had happened to the girl. At that time, the policeman will arrive to the spot. Who will come there, children? A cop. The policeman will come to the spot. By looking at the condition of the girl, he will suggest them to take the girl to Airoli. The traffic policeman said that there was a hospital, but Baleshwar disagreed to go to Airoli. Why he will disagree, children? Because Airoli was at least 10 kilometers away. As the condition of the girl was very critical, he did not want to take her to the long distance. So he decided to take the girl to the nearby hospital. After 10 minutes, they arrived at a small hospital. There was no proper facility in that hospital. There was no proper staffs and equipments. As a result, they just gave a basic first aid and advised them to take the girl to the nearby hospital. Baleshwar and the driver had no choice but to move her back into the truck. When the vehicle lurched forward, Roma stood and her eyes fluttered open. "What is your name?" asked Baleshwar, who was with her in the back of the truck. When the on-duty physician advised them to take the girl to the nearby hospital, Baleshwar and the driver had no choice. They had to move her back into the truck. When the vehicle started moving unsteadily, when the vehicle started moving forward, Roma stirred and her eyes fluttered open. Slightly she will open her eyes. When she opened her eyes, Baleshwar will ask her name. Roma, she managed to grind out. Whom can I call? He asked quickly, fearing that she would black out once more. My brother Dinesh, she said, slowly giving him Dinesh's cell phone number. Baleshwar memorized it and watched as Roma's eyes soon lost focus and rolled back into the darkness. When Baleshwar asked the girl what was her name, she was trying to tell something with great effort. By seeing that, he will quickly ask, to whom can I call? Fearing that she would be unconscious again. She said to call her brother Dinesh and gave his cell phone number. Baleshwar memorized the contact number and watched Roma's eyes soon lost focus and rolled back into the darkness. That means she became unconscious again. Chacha, can I borrow your mobile? Baleshwar asked, and the driver passed him his phone. Dinesh Talreja was wrapping up his day at his marketing job at a retail outlet in Ulhasnagar when his phone rang from a number he didn't recognize. Dinesh bhai? A young voice asked. Your sister Roma has fallen off a train and we are taking her to Divine Hospital in Gansoli. I am on my way, said Dinesh, rushing towards his motorcycle. Baleshwar will take the phone from the tempo truck driver and he will contact Roma's brother Dinesh Talreja and tell him that his sister Roma had fallen off a train, had met with an accident and they are taking her to the Divine Hospital in Gansoli. Roma arrived at Divine Multi-Speciality Hospital and Research Center minutes later. Dr. Anil Agarwal, the medical director there, seeing the extent of Roma's injuries, admitted her immediately to the ICU without any paperwork. After a few minutes, they will arrive to the Divine Multi-Speciality Hospital. There, the medical director, Dr. Anil Agarwal, by seeing the critical condition of the girl, he will immediately admit the girl and take her to the ICU without the formalities, without any paperwork. He will admit the girl. He just wanted to save the life of the girl. He asked Baleshwar to hang around until Roma's family arrived. That was when they noticed that the driver, having done all he could, had slipped away with his truck. Oh, I couldn't thank him, Baleshwar thought. Dr. Anil Agarwal asked Baleshwar to stay in the hospital until Roma's family members arrived. When he was busy in admitting Roma in the hospital, the tempo truck driver who had done all the help went from the hospital without even expecting the gratitude. So later when Baleshwar was searching him to thank him, he couldn't find there. So Baleshwar will feel that he couldn't even thank that person. Roma was still unconscious, but her x-rays showed that although the injuries looked severe, all she needed were deep wound sutures. There would be no lasting damage, but Dr. Agarwal believes she could have bled to death had nobody helped her. When she finally opened her eyes that night, her brother and fiancé were by her side. She could barely speak, just nodded and fell asleep again. Treatment was given to Roma and still she was unconscious, and x-rays was taken to diagnose if there is any damage. The injuries were looking severe, but there was no much damage. Those injuries just needed a stitch to join the wound together. If nobody had come forward to help the girl, she would have met with the death. She would have bled to death. When finally she opened her eyes that night, her brother and fiancé Vijay were by her side. Who was in the hospital with her? Her brother Dinesh Talreja and her fiancé Vijay was with her. She could barely speak. She was not able to speak much. She was just nodding her head and she used to fall asleep again because of the drowsiness of the medicines. When Baleshwar came to meet her the next morning, Roma was still partly sedated. On his way, Baleshwar had even revisited the spot where Roma had fallen, looking for her belongings because Dinesh had told him that her cell phone and handbag were missing. Not far from this spot, a railway employee assured Baleshwar that some of Roma's belongings had been found. How are you feeling? Baleshwar asked. I'm okay, Roma whispered. Next morning, Baleshwar will come to meet Roma. When he came there, she was still partly sedated. That means she was half awake due to the drugs. That means due to the drowsiness of the drugs, she was half awake. When he was on the way to the hospital, he will revisit the spot where Roma had fallen because Dinesh had called him and told that Roma's handbag and cell phone were missing. So to find that, he will visit to the spot where she had fallen. When Baleshwar was searching for her belongings, the railway employee will come there and he will tell Baleshwar that already Roma's belongings had been found. Already some of her things have been found. Baleshwar asked Roma how she was feeling. She will whisper and tell that she was okay. In a few days, Roma made a full recovery. I can't imagine what would have happened if Baleshwar hadn't been there. She says, amazed to learn of the manner in which she had been rescued. I think it's astonishing that a stranger would jump off a train and risk his life for me. I can never repay Baleshwar. After a few days, Roma made a full recovery. That means she was completely recovered. And she was thinking that what would have happened if Baleshwar was not there to save her. And also she was surprised that a stranger would jump off a train and risk his life for saving a stranger's life. Roma realizes she can never repay Baleshwar. She thinks that she can never pay back to Baleshwar. Why she can't repay Baleshwar, children? Because he showed kindness and sympathy towards the girl. He cared for the life of the girl. So it is unable to repay him. Children, if any person help anybody with the gold or money, it can be repaid after the recovery. But here, Baleshwar showed mercy towards the girl. He showed kindness and sympathy towards the girl. It is one of the human quality. It must come from the bottom of the heart. So, it is unable to repay kindness and sympathy. Sympathy is heavenly gift. It is greater than gold and money. It is invaluable. So we should not put price tag on this invaluable gift. The only thing what we can do is express our gratitude, convey our special thanks to them and always be grateful for their charity. That means always be thankful for their kindness and sympathy and their help. I am new to Mumbai, but I have noticed that people here are afraid, says Baleshwar, who is still looking for a job. They fear getting trapped in the courts or with the police. So, why did he do it? She needed help. Baleshwar puts it simply. The day it was Roma. Tomorrow it could be you or me by the tracks, bleeding and alone. Baleshwar tells that the people of Mumbai fear of getting trapped in the courts or with the police. So nobody is ready to come forward to help. When Baleshwar was asked why did he help the girl, he will give a very simple answer that she needed help, and also he will tell that that day it was Roma. Tomorrow it could be you or me by the tracks, bleeding and alone. What Baleshwar meant to say is if we help anybody today in times of their difficulties, tomorrow when we face some kind of danger or some kind of difficulties, any other people will be there to rescue us, will be there to save us. Did you all understand, children? Yes? Okay. This is all about the lesson. There is a girl by the tracks. Children, from this lesson, we will learn one thing, that is, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. I hope this class was beneficial for you. Meet you all in the next class. Thank you.